This episode, I'll not only take an in-depth look at this Kenner 1982 TaunTaun, but I'll also show how I turned this yellow belly back to its original production snowy white. Kenner 1982 Open Belly TaunTaun released 2 years after the first version of the TaunTaun for the original Star Wars trilogy Empire Strikes Back. This vintage TaunTaun toy, although fairly simplistic in style, it's a great vintage toy collector piece. The movie Empire Strikes Back and Kenner's original version of the TaunTaun both came out in 1980. Despite the limited articulation here, the front arms and the hind legs, there are details that are just sculpted in. Not just on the figure itself, but the accessories, with the bridle and the saddle. A lot of detail in on the saddle. Molded in supply bags, something resembling like a blanket roll. There's some other little supply pouches as well. And fur-covered chaps for the legs here of the figure. We'll insert the figure later into the trapdoor opening on the back of this figure. The reins on these figures have typically gotten very dry and brittle over the years and need a delicate touch when handling these. There's fine little cracks that are forming all across the surface, as you can see here. These cracks cause the reins to split, but the material is very easy to mend. I can see, however, in the past, where these crumbling and breaking reins like this would have left people to just simply discard it. And often these TaunTauns are missing the reins for that very reason. So reproductions are available, but if yours are just simply broken, it's an easy fix, and I'll show you that later on in this episode. The bottom of the feet are marked with the Lucasfilm Limited 1979 and Hong Kong for the production location here on the other foot. So the strap setup on the saddle here for this figure for the open belly TaunTaun, it's supposed to be a beefier design to kind of help accommodate that removal and reassembly onto the TaunTaun to get access to that open belly feature. Taking a look into the underside of the saddle, there's really not a lot to notice here as far as any other markings. There's a series of molded in numerical info, but nothing Kenner or whatever type related on there. And here's a look at that hinge trapdoor feature built into the TaunTaun action figure's back. The rubbery belly area is a rectangular block-like section built into the body. I imagine it would have been a process of retooling the original TaunTaun figure to adapt it for this flexible insert. So to demonstrate the play feature of putting Luke inside the TaunTaun here, and it seems no matter what I do, I am not able to get the figure in that far, even reaching up through the little pop-in box on the back of the TaunTaun try to reach in and reposition his legs to get him in at a better angle, he is just not sitting in as deep as the box illustration, the photography here shows, with him in and even able to turn at a slight angle. So I'm going to guess probably for product photography, the legs might have been either removed or clipped down or something, or the TaunTaun was not a production TaunTaun. It's more of a prototype TaunTaun where the internal workings might have been a little bit different to fit that figure in more fully into the opening of the belly here of the TaunTaun. Yeah, he's just chilling in the belly of the TaunTaun. So I found slightly bending his legs forward before placing them through the trap door on the back of the TaunTaun. It kind of helps it get into position better without too much of a struggle. And I'll carefully work those reins back onto the TaunTaun here. You can see how those molded in legs on the side of the saddle come into play, creating that image, the illusion of Luke's legs looking like now they're straddling the TaunTaun's back, and covered with those furry chaps to help protect against the frigid Hoth temperatures. The reins seem kind of oversized for the figure or the set, but I don't know if originally, when the plastic was a little more flexible, that they would have kind of sat or just kind of laid into place better, having some flex there. But yeah, they just seem to really kind of go into the figure space too much. But like I say, that could have been an age issue with the material. The TaunTaun figures here, this one measures, it's about 8 inches from the tail to the nose, just under 8. It's like maybe 7 3/4. And again, height, depending on how you've positioned those legs and stuff, but it's just under 6 inches tall there. Here we go, taking a closer look at the TaunTaun's face. There's nice sculpted detail, for a kid's toy, really. Since these were made to be played with, they weren't packaged or promoted as a collector's item type of a thing. So to have that and just hand it off to a kid to play with, it really did, they did a nice job with it. Part of what makes this figure a unique collectible is the very play feature of being that open belly version. I'm not so sure in current times if that would make it into production. That idea of having a toy that you're opening the belly of the animal to put your action figure inside, it seems like that might be in a adult collectible toy and not so much a kid's toy, perhaps. The first thing I decided to go ahead and tackle with this figure was the reins that had the split in the handle. That's the quickest, easiest fix. It's a clean break in the material, so that's a good thing. It's also very dirty. So before I make a repair, I just want to get the soiling off the surface. I'm using a cotton swab here and cotton ball, just with the warm water, because I can see the fragility of this plastic. Because it's fairly porous, the material, just a drop of the glue is all it takes to make a good solid permanent bond. So to get to the TaunTaun belly here, plasticizers will leach out of flexible rubbery plastics over time. And when these surfaces are in contact with other plastics, there can be a reaction. from the plasticizers, and it's something you've seen or probably heard of, which are called melt marks. And they're very frustrating and disappointing. They really damage other plastics they come in contact with. The yellowing that's coming up is most likely a bromide. That's added to plastics to achieve some kind of fire retardant safety measure with the plastics. Because of the body design, internal little spring elements there, I would not dip this figure in a hydrogen peroxide bath. This belly is not only discolored, but it's very sticky feeling. The saddle hasn't been affected by the belly, so that's great. It just needs a good cleaning. That stickiness is a good tangible way to tell about that leaching of the plasticizers. There's some slight yellowing on the glued seam on the TaunTaun's head, and I'll clear that up as well as I'm working with the belly area. So first I'm going to dampen the belly area with a mist of water and then spray it down with some Dawn Power Wash Cleaner. And then I'll scrub that with just a soft bristle toothbrush, working that area. So even with that initial cleaning and scrubbing, it did help to improve the appearance of the belly. Nothing else, it removed the buildup of debris and dirt that has attached itself to that yellowed tacky surface of the belly. That flexible material is still really tacky, and that has not improved or gone away. I want to really whiten the belly up, so I'm going to be using my gel whitening treatment here for this project. I've gone into detail in a formula and process of making that, and so I'm just going to include a link here for that episode here on Toy Tinker Tim. I did about two treatments of the gel on there. I had good sunny weather, so the TaunTaun was outside with the gel on the belly here. Afterwards, it's just a process to rinse or wipe down the gel peroxide off of it, and you can see it was able to produce a huge difference in restoring the original color, and the stickiness, the tacky, is also gone as well. It's just more back to a usual surface of the flexible belly material. That gel whitening process really worked amazing in the cleanup and removing the yellowing and the stickiness from that rubbery plastic surface. You can see in these before and after images, the results speak for themselves. There's no other exposure necessary to the rest of the figure with the chemicals, except for those pinpointed areas, these sections that need it. So it's a great figure to work with. It's a nice one to clean up. It's, a very dramatic result. The character, the TaunTaun, is so unique. It's a great item in your display. and you can really have it looking its sharpest and its best. Just doing some of these simple things that I've shown here in this episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to hit the like button on there. Share it with your fellow collectors, friends that you know as well who've got a TaunTaun that could use a little bit of a touch-up and tune-up here. And be sure to subscribe to the Toy Tinker Tim channel here on YouTube. And as always, thanks for watching.